To all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television. We're live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Anthony Momodu. Chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Taiwo Oyedele, has revealed that his committee will be proposing the removal of value-added tax on some basic food, educational, and healthcare items. Oyedele said this via his X handle as he clarified comments earlier made at a policy exposure and impact assessment session organized by the committee. Denying claims that his committee is proposing a rate hike, Oyedele said that it had instead proposed full input VAT credit for businesses to reduce their cost of doing business and minimize the strain on their cash flows. The Chief Whip of the Senate, Ali Ndume, has raised concerns over alleged inadequacies noticed in the renovated Senate chamber. Senator Ndume, who raised the issues through Order 42 of the Senate Standing Rules, said what was supposed to be a chamber is now looking like a conference room. Kikelomo Okere has the rest of the story.
Complaints by senators on their renovated chamber continued Tuesday, a week after bickering about the altered sitting arrangements.
If you go and record what I'm speaking now, you will not know straight away that it is Senator Ndume that is speaking. So also when the leader was talking, we need to correct this. We need to change so many things, like the sitting. Now, if you want to stand up, you have to use strategy or tactics to stand up or to sit down. There is no voting device here. If we are to vote electronically, the facilities are not there. But previously, we had that. There is no clock here for senators to see what's the time, because maybe they have some commitment outside. The clock is, even at the back, there's no clock. So you see, you are showing me and I'm looking for it. Where is it?
Concurring to Ndume's observation, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, in his response says the observations were well noted and the point of order upheld. He, however, explained to Ndume that complaints on sitting arrangements among senators have been sorted out 99.9%, just as he reminded him that contracts for the renovation work was not done by the 10th National Assembly.
We shall discuss in future about the need for us to have proper autonomy for the National Assembly, because after 25 years of democracy, the National Assembly should be able to own a property or own a chamber and be able to maintain its chambers, give contract for the renovation of the chambers. But as it is now, we just have to wait for our head to be shaved by FCDA, even in our absence. Like you, I just came into the chambers. I'm not aware. Let's not go into it again. I would have said, were you there in the 9th Assembly? When the contract was given, what was the bill of quantities and all that. But I think that substantial progress has been made, even in the voice quality of the microphones, and it will continue to improve with your observations. So your point of order is upheld.
Recall that there was an argument between Senate leader Senator Okoyemi Bamidele, Senate Sabi Yao, and Danjuma Goje, which the leadership of the Senate debunked the same day. Kikelomo Okere, Global Television News.
The Senate approved a death penalty for dealers and importers of cocaine, heroin, and other hard drugs into the country. The proposed capital punishment also applies to manufacturing, trafficking, dealing in, or delivery of hard drugs by any means. The Senate arrived at the resolution on the floor of the Red Chamber after deliberations on the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA Act Bill 2024. The maximum punishment in the extant law for offenders is life imprisonment. Hoodlums, clash, and moving forward, the House of Representatives has resolved to investigate the procurement process of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. This followed the adoption of a motion of urgent national importance moved by Austin Achado, APC Benue, during plenary. Moving the motion, Achado maintained that the contract award did not follow due process and did not get approval from the National Assembly. However, in its resolution, the House referred the matter to its committees on procurement and works. The House of Representatives has called on Vice President Kashim Shettima to summon an emergency meeting of the board of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company for the urgent resuscitation of the Bahrain power plant to enhance the efficiency of the national grid. The Vice President is the chairman of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company board. The House also summoned the Managing Director of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company, Joseph Ugbo, to appear before its Committee on Power to explain the state of the power plant. Journalists and concerned citizens have stormed the police force headquarters, Abuja, to protest the continued detention of a journalist with Foundation of Investigative Journalism. Daniel Ojukwu, Kikelomo Okere reports that the protests at the force headquarters followed the continuous detention of Ojukwu for 9 days, as well as the alleged silence of the police leadership on the matter.
Prominent Nigerians, including Revolution Now convener Omoyele Sowore, human rights activist Bukky Shonibare, and other media practitioners led the protest at the entrance of the police complex. The activists demanded immediate release of Ojukwu, saying his continued detention is equivalent to an extrajudicial trial and punishment. They also condemned the incessant use and abuse of the remand order process, which they allege is the new machinery with which the Nigerian police continuously violate the rights of citizens.
We unequivocally condemn Daniel Ojukwu's abduction and unlawful detention as unconstitutional, illegal, immoral, and unbecoming of a country that claims to practice democracy. We maintain that for Nigeria to claim its status as the continent's largest democracy, the institutions and law enforcement agencies must uphold established standards and procedures consistent with democratic norms.
Somebody used 147 million naira to implement a project from government funds, from the funds which are from the taxes of Nigerians. Daniel has just taken that information and written and validated that information that the project that was implemented is nowhere to be found. But you know, he's been in prison for that purpose. So the question is, what has he done to demand that he's a criminal? So he doesn't need a good lawyer. We are saying charge him to court, charge him for whatever he has done, and let's see if we will not bring a good lawyer. So that's the situation here.
Addressing protesters, Commissioner of Police in charge of federal operation commended the conduct of the protests and assured that Ojukwu will be charged to court at the appropriate time.
I have heard you and I have heard all your demands. This will be communicated to the appropriate authorities, and I assure you that our Inspector General of Police will definitely take a step towards the liberation of Daniel Ojukwu. Or if it means charging him, it will be done so accordingly. We will communicate to them, and I believe that appropriate action will be taken.
In October 2023, Ojukwu had reported how the then Senior Special Assistant on Sustainability Development Goal to the President, Adejoke Orelapo Adefulere, paid 147.1 million naira to an account traced to Eseno Global Ventures, an Abuja-based restaurant, for the construction of classrooms. Kikelomo Okere, Global Television News.
A federal high court in Abuja has granted 100 million naira bail each to a former Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, his daughter, and 2 others. They are being tried over an alleged fraud to the tune of 2.7 billion naira. According to the court, they are to provide 2 sureties who must have landed properties in Abuja. The sureties, the court stated, must also be responsible citizens. Samuel Ode completes the report.
The court also ordered the sureties to depose an affidavit of means and restricted the defendants from traveling abroad without its permission. Justice Orji ordered that the defendants should be remained in prison custody if they fail to meet their bail conditions, adding that the sureties must own landed properties within the Federal Capital Territory with valid titles. The counsel to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Rotimi Jacobs, spoke on the bail condition granted by the court.
One of the two cases filed against the former minister. So the first one is taken before his lordship here. So we are going to contend for the other one in another date. So, but the bail is at the discretion of the court. So it's for the court to decide whether it is adequate or not. So a counsel in his own right cannot criticize the judge whether the conditions are liberal or high or low, but I think it is fair. Yes, thank you. Well, there are other issues that were introduced, like the Nigerian Airways with Ethiopia something, which we added to it. So it was not there originally, but Nigerian Air matter is there are two counts on it. That's why we amended it. On condition that one of the surety must own property in Abuja and must deposit some money out or bond and all those things. So I don't think it's strenuous. It's a condition that is unfair. It's very fair to them.
The trial has been set for 10th, 11th, and 20th of June 2024. Samuel Odi reporting for Global Television News.
You're watching News Cycle coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. When News Cycle returns, reps urge Vice President Shatima to summon emergency meeting of Niger Delta Power Holding Company Board. These and other stories coming right after this break. Just stay with us. Welcome back from the break. This is Global Television bringing you live broadcasts of News Cycle. Thank you for staying with us. On the foreign scene, President Joe Biden has warned Israel that the U.S. will stop supplying some weapons if it launches a major ground operation in the Gaza city of Rafah. He added that he would continue to make sure Israel is secure. Despite firm and vocal U.S. opposition, Israel appears poised to mount a large-scale invasion of Rafah. The congested part of the southern Gaza is Hamas's last major stronghold in the territory. U.S. officials have warned that an operation in the city, where the population has swelled with refugees from other parts of Gaza, could lead to extensive civilian casualties. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry and Meghan, will arrive in Nigeria 10th May 2024 for a 3-day private visit. The couple is visiting Nigeria on the invitation of the Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa to interact with wounded soldiers. Director, Sports Defense Headquarters, Air Vice Marshal Abidemi Marcus, who disclosed this, said the founder of the Investors Games will spend 3 days in Nigeria interacting with wounded soldiers and their families. Marcus said the visit, scheduled from 10th to 13th May 2024, will help wounded soldiers in their recovery efforts.
Prince Harry, the Duke of Duchess, founded the Invictus Game
and state government that would strengthen trade and investment opportunities between Nigeria and other member countries of the Commonwealth. Glazebrook made a case for deepening collaboration when she led a delegation of the Council's strategic partners during her separate meetings with Vice President Kashim Shettima in Abuja and the Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, in Lagos State. Glazebrook also pledged the CWEIC's support to the Nigerian government and highlighted some of the Council's forthcoming events both in Nigeria and outside, including the Commonwealth Trade and Investment Summit in London in 2025 and the proposed Trade and Investment Summit to be held in Nigeria in the second half of 2025. The federal government is set to commence a fresh audit of the 2.8 trillion naira fuel subsidy claim by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. An audit firm, KPMG, had conducted an initial audit reducing the claims from 6 trillion naira to 2.7 trillion naira. The federal government is also considering either engaging an external audit firm or directing the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation to verify the claims made by the corporation regarding the amount the government owes the oil firm. The federal government has waived the signature bonus requirement in the bidding process for newly auctioned oil blocks. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and Oil, Henneken Lukubiri, said this exemption is to attract fresh investment and ramp up oil output. A signature bonus is a single non-recoverable lump sum payment made upfront by oil companies to the government for the right to develop an oil block commercially after successfully winning in a license bid round. At the event, the minister assured investors that the oil will remain relevant in Nigeria's economy for a long time and that the government is creating an enabling environment to attract the best investment into the country. In sport, Joselu scored twice in the final minutes to help Real Madrid fight back from the brink of elimination to reach their 6th Champions League final in 10 years with a dramatic 2-1 second leg win over Bayern Munich. Bayern looked to be heading to the final when Alphonso Davies caught in and blasted past Andre Looney after England captain Harry Kane had found him with a superb pass, but Joselu grabbed an 88-minute equalizer when he reacted quickest after Bayern goalkeeper Manuel Neuer, who had been excellent up until then. The United Nations General Assembly adopted a resolution proclaiming May 25th as the World Football Day. The day marks the 100th anniversary of the first international football tournament in history, with the representation of all regions which took place on May 25th, 1924, during the Summer Olympic Games held in Paris, according to the resolution. That's it on News Cycle, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times Channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using our Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. I am Anthony Momodu saying thank you for watching and see you again.